We're going to keep it really simple. We're going to create a better experience. We're going to talk to more people. We're going to follow up consistently, because success in real estate is not about doing more deals. It's about becoming the agent that people never forget.
All right, you guys, we just wrapped up an all agent training inside of Reside, and it was so good that we immediately said that we need to turn this into a podcast right now. So, fresh off this training, Lauren just walked through what actually drives agent growth. And honestly, it wasn't what most people would expect. So, today we want to break it down for you.
Yes, and I did not tell Brooke to say that was her own personal opinion. I am really excited. So thank you, Brooke. I'm really glad we can make the time to hop on, because this is something I see every single day working with team leaders, with agents, with even operators. And I think the biggest misconception in this business is people think that they need more information, they need more tools, they need more leads. And that's usually not the issue. The real issue is inconsistency, lack of structure, and not actually doing the right things daily, i.e., taking action. And so the gap where most agents are and where they want to be will be is actually much simpler than they think once you break it down. So I'll get
Absolutely.
into that.
And before we get into the framework, I really want to start here because I don't know if people know this, but you didn't come up as an agent. So, how did
Mhm.
you get into this and why do you see things differently now?
Yeah. So honestly, I think this is the way that, or this is why I see things in the business the way that I do. I came into the real estate world in 2018. We'll keep it really service level bullet points. We can get into it all on another podcast, but I did not come in as an agent. I came in behind the scenes as an operator. I had my hands in transaction coordination, executive assistant work, listing management, recruiting, meeting prep, agent accountability, backend systems, team infrastructure. At one point, I was scaling a virtual assistant team, managing and training operators across the country. So I wasn't just seeing one perspective or one side of the business, I was living it. I was seeing everything. I was the shiny object or the therapist for the agents or team leaders. So over the last, oh gosh, 8 years, I've sat in a lot of deals to this day. And when you see that many, you start to notice patterns and
Mhm.
you see what top agents consistently do, where deals start to fall apart, where clients get frustrated, where teams start to break down a little bit, and where agents lose business that they already earned. And what became really clear to me is this business is not complicated, but it does require some discipline, or a lot of discipline, emotional
Mhm.
fitness. And the agents who win are not the most talented. They're the ones that are the most consistent, accountable, and intentional.
Absolutely. And that's all true, by the way, people I've known her during that time. And I always
Yep.
brag about Lauren when I'm talking with other operations that she was on a team where what you're up to like 20 agents. I believe you're expanding into another
Mhm.
location. You were covering operation services for other teams. You were handling 60 transactions on the team. You name
It's a
it,
lot.
you were doing it at the time. And one of the favorite things that you had talked about was you had said that you're not in real estate, you're in the experience business. So, and you had just talked about this on the training with the agents, but I would love for you to break that down a little bit more here.
Yeah. So one thing that I learned early on, and I wrote it on a little sticky note and put it on my computer when I was in office, and it was, we are not in the transaction business, we are in the relationship or relational business. So that was my biggest mindset shift, because most agents think their job is, I help people buy and sell homes. But that's not actually what the client experience is, or what the client experiences themselves. So we want to try to put ourselves in their shoes, especially if you've bought or sold your own properties, what that experience was like for you. I know a lot of agents get into the business because they wanted to create a better experience than they had themselves and educate people. So, a lot of the times, clients are going to experience stress, uncertainty, emotion, pressure. And what they remember is not the paperwork. I mean, maybe they had to fill out a lot, but they're not going to remember it verbatim. the MLS and what that looked like and the logistics, they remember, and I'm coming from personal experience. I don't remember my MLS in the last home we sold. They remember how you made them feel during that process. So, did you make it easier? Did you make it clearer? Did you make the client feel taken care of? Or did you disappear, react instead of lead? Leave them with confusion, especially for I'm like your type A, type B friend. Like if there's a dish in the sink, I'm not like rushing to clean it, but it will get taken care of. But if we're in a big emotional transaction, I'm like, okay, what's next? What do we need to do? Am I on top of it? And that's what determines whether the client's going to refer you, whether they trust you again, and whether they're going to talk about you and refer you to all of their friends after the deal.
Absolutely. And you had talked about in your training, you talked about the earn framework. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I feel like
Yeah.
that's where everything really clicked for the people that had heard this previously.
Yeah, so Brooke knows in the last month I've been really into naming things. So we in my role, we created an operations training that we are going to be hosting weekly in April. And so I like acronyms tied to everything. So earn for me is the experience, the client experience, the ultimate client experience. And because you have to earn the relationship, the trust, and the referral, I always apply things like that. So we can definitely get into it. What questions do you have?
Absolutely. So let's break down the acronym here with
Okay.
earn. So let's start with the E, which is for engage. What does that actually mean in the client experience?
Yeah, so engage is everything that happens before someone decides to work with you. And this is where most agents don't realize they could be losing your business because they think I'll win them at the appointment, but
Mhm.
you don't. You win them in the first 5 minutes. So I'm going to break it down. When a lead comes in, what do most agents do? Most, I'm not saying you. So accountability is the best form of love. So we're going to check ourselves a little bit. They wait, they overthink, they respond later. What do top agents do? They respond immediately, they take control, and they guide the conversation. And this isn't just about speed, it's how you show up. Because your client is asking, can I trust this person before they even meet you? So this is where it's going to start to get really practical. How you show up privately is how you show up publicly. So I've had to check myself frequently throughout my life. And so tactically, we can apply this to how do you dress?
Mhm.
Is your car clean? Are you prepared? Do you sound confident? I have a little bit of allergies, and I feel like that episode of Friends when Monica can't say fine, it's fine. I said
That's fine.
confident. Sorry. So, anyways, our internal state. So, if you have messes everywhere or your car is just chaotic, that's going to show up in your business. And also, it's going to like your first impression is really what matters with these clients. So, if you're running late or your hair is not brushed, that shirt is something you just threw on and there's a mustard stain on it. You are working from home and you're in sweats all day. Guilty. I've done that before.
Yeah.
We want to make ourselves feel good. And so, fake it till you make it. This is where that applies. Look good, feel good. I
Mhm.
did this weekend because I was not feeling great. I was like, maybe if I put on some makeup and some real clothes, I'm going to feel a little bit better. It worked. So, just for some people out there, if you're like, okay, if you take it one thing out of this training today, go take the trash out of your car. Okay.
Yes.
Brush your hair, take care of yourself, do some self care. That's what we mean. And if you're like, Lauren, I have kids, I don't have time to do this, I'm running around, keep a hairbrush in your car, bring mouthwash with you, whatever you need to do. Don't wear heavy smelling colognes, heavy smelling perfumes. Be light, be
Mhm.
presentable, your reputation and how you want to present yourself. So
Absolutely. And I
there you
think a
go.
big piece of that too is tone as well. I mean, there's a big difference when you
Yeah.
first talk to somebody on the phone to even set that appointment when you're like, hey, how's it going? Like, kind of have
Mm,
that your type of tone versus like, hey, how's it going? How's your day? They can tell immediately and they
yeah.
can pick up on that energy immediately.
The
And so let's talk about
energy, it's
go ahead.
powerful. Yeah,
Yeah.
energy is powerful. Like as leaders, especially, it is hard to
Mhm.
show up every single day, especially when you're in that season of life where you're trying to show up for you can't even show up for yourself. It's really hard. And that's why I'm saying there's no judgment. And when I was saying how you're going to present yourself, your reputation, caring what other people think, I'm not like saying be a people pleaser. That's not what I'm saying at all. When we're leading a ton of people, you got to lead from the front and show up vulnerable. But, you got to get things done, take action, and no one's going to come save you. So,
Absolutely. And Lauren and I are moms of little children, by the way, so we get it.
yeah.
We get that it's not always easy to do the things that move things forward. But like Lauren said, those times where it's almost the times where you need it the most, right? When you feel like you're
Yeah.
drowning, like you feel like it's super chaotic, that's the time where you need it the most to have that self care and check how you're presenting yourself and what your energy is
Hmm.
like.
Yep.
But next, I really want to get into the A of earn, which is anticipate, because this one
Hmm.
really hit for me. So, can you talk a little bit more about
Great.
what anticipate means?
Yeah, and this is something that I hold true to a core value of mine. And this is where you're going to separate top agents from the rest because most agents operate in terms of something happens and they respond. It's reactive. I'm sure we all have done that in our lives as well. The top agent or top agents operate like they think ahead. They're proactive. They prepare the client. They're going to eliminate confusion before it shows up. And I could get down a rabbit hole on how to do it, but we're going to keep it really concise today.
Mhm.
Clients do not get frustrated because something went wrong. They get frustrated because they didn't know what was happening. So I think I mentioned that in the beginning, like anticipating their needs. You don't need to be a mind reader, but be proactive with your communication. So if your client ever asks what is happening, you have already lost control of the experience.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, put yourself in their shoes, or when you bought your first home, or what it would be like to buy your first home. And I mean, even not even just the first, but every time you buy, like, what does that feel like? Imagine the emotions and the uncertainty that they have moving forward, and how can you eliminate that? All those common questions that you get from your clients or those pain points. How can you
Mhm.
remove that friction? But let's move into R, which is retain, because I think this is where most
Mm.
agents really fall off.
Yeah. So we're talking about retaining clients. So they agents fall off or lose their future businesses because they're working hard, they close, and then they disappear. We're not talking about retaining your client during the deal. We're talking about what happens after the deal closes. Agents, a lot of the time, we're going to say, I need more leads. No, you need to stop losing the people who already trusted you as well. Leads are always going to be super, super important. And it's likely not the lead problem because trust me, I've had agents nurture their database for years. And finally, I have a success story of an agent after 5 years. Somebody finally reached out to them because they were consistent and said, hey, I'm ready to sell my house now. You just never know what someone's timeline is, someone's seasons of life. But for your current clients, they're going to become past clients. So, what are you going to do to retain them? And people don't remember transactions, they remember how you made them feel.
Absolutely. And it's just taken most of that initial hard work out of it with your past clients, because they already know, like, and trust you, hopefully.
Mhm.
So you're taking out that initial relationship building phase, and you're just going straight to how you can best support them because you already know them.
Yep.
So let's jump into N, which is network. Because I think this is where things can really multiply. We've talked about it a little bit, but I'd love to hear more about what your thoughts are here with network.
Yeah. So with your network, this is where your business is going to become sustainable because
Mhm.
now you're not chasing. You're building relationships that keep working for you. And referrals do not come from luck. They're going to come from intentional experience and consistent visibility. So the visibility we're talking about is going into social media. Don't be a secret agent. It is not your friends and family and your audience's play what's the word I'm looking for? It's not their responsibility
Right.
for them to remember that you're in real estate. You need to be constantly reminding them. So get out in the community, do go to some local businesses. What's opening soon? Like be the local expert and actually get into your community and be visible.
Absolutely. That's the worst, is when you call a family member or a friend. Actually, my this happened to my dad, who's also in real estate. He called his mom
Sorry, Michael.
and yeah, checked in and was like, "Oh, how things going?" She's like, "Oh, I just sold my house." And he's like, "Mom,
You're
I'm in real estate." She's like, "Oh, I didn't realize." So
oh
it's
my
like, be
gosh.
super visible because it can happen. And getting into now we've talked about earn, I would love for you to get into the part that people don't really want to hear, saying the hard things here.
Yeah, we love to say the hard things here because John Sheplack always says accountability is the best form of love you can give someone. I've seen the Hermosis talk about that as well. So, this is where everything's going to get real because you can have the best experience in the world, but if you don't have clients, it's not going to matter. So, breaking this down, your business is actually simple. Many of the times we overcomplicate everything. I know I do. And then I'm just like, wait, let's just like make sure this gets done. Your business is simple through conversations, appointments, closings. This is not motivation, this is math. And the activity here is most agents think that they need more leads. Again, we've talked about this. You don't go work what's in the database. We need to be more, we need to execute more. Okay, what's the next right thing that you need to do to move the needle forward? So, our daily standard is that what you need to know every single day is how many people did you talk to that day? I mean, all the numbers are going to add up for the week. How many you followed up with, you're nurturing that database, and how many people did you add that week? So, get out into your coffee shops, get out into wherever else in your local community that you really want to have your niche in, that you really want to represent and be like, oh, I'm the local expert here, and go meet people and put them and tag them properly in your database.
Absolutely. And let's talk a little bit more about database because I think that this
Uh-huh.
is going to be what's really going to be solid for the agents and their daily activities. This is what we're bringing in the systems. So let's talk about that a little bit as far as getting what your database should be for you.
Yeah, so a lot of the time, people I've worked with will hear me say, if it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist because we're going to be really practical on time management. Like, how long does it take you to eat your lunch? How long does it take you to drive from X place to Y? So, to apply this here is if it's not in your CRM, it didn't happen. This is where your business leads. And now, before I forget this thought, don't use your personal phone number, use the business phone number because things happen in technology all the time. Like our cloud, excuse me, doesn't back up or our phone just gets deleted and then we lose all those notes. You're an operator, right? As a business owner and independent contractor, your CRM is where the history of your leads, your business, everything is going to live. So log in every single day. We'll probably talk about this, but log in every single day. Make sure all of your leads that you're actively working are updated. Your CRM is always going to reflect the health of your business. So if it's messy, your business is probably going to be messy. And I say that with so much love. This is the accountability piece to step into the right action, build your habits, build your discipline, and build your consistency.
Absolutely. And we'll have to do, just reminding me, first thought of it, we'll have to do another podcast here soon, a little bit more about the
Yeah.
database piece and the CRM and what daily activities should look like in there because there's just so
Mhm.
much gold and so many opportunities within your database. I do want to get into one last piece that you had mentioned a bit is reviews and referrals because I think this is really where everything's going to multiply for agents.
Yeah, the multiplication effect is real here. So, this is where everything is going to be changing because we're not just closing deals, we're building a business. We're building a business cadence. So, reviews, those build trust. Referrals, those build your pipeline. We are already in quarter 2, people. What you did in the last 30 days is going to reflect in your next 60 to 90. Okay, so if you don't have anything in the pipeline right now, how are you going to put food on the table for your family, for yourself, whatever your situation is? Get out and go work those leads in your database, work the old leads, work the leads that no one ever wanted to. Okay. Look at the notes in the section. You don't get to tell people you're great. Your reviews get to tell you that for you. Top agents do not hope for referrals, they build the systems around them. So be proactive, do the right activity, and we'll leave you with this. If you're going to take away anything from today's chat, we're going to keep it really simple. We're going to create a better experience. We're going to talk to more people. We're going to follow up consistently because success in real estate is not about doing more deals. It's about becoming the agent that people never forget. So, yeah, Brooke, the next, we'll probably do a deeper dive on all of this. We really just wanted to touch the top points of everything. And then if you guys all want to hear more about the frameworks, you let us know and we'll do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Lauren, for taking the time
Yeah.
today, especially fresh off of that training. It just is something that's so important that we wanted to bring it to a higher level of audience here. And like Lauren said, we can get into some of the deeper frameworks on each of these
Yeah.
things.
Thank
But
you.
yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, Lauren, for your time today. And thank you,
Thank
everybody,
you.
in. Thanks for joining the Reside Platform podcast, and we will see you all next time.